October 25th. You're in the time machine. I've got a brand new record.
Peace, everybody. This is Brother Patar. I'll be your host for tonight, bringing to you Pure Body Awareness, along with CEO and Director of Pure Body Awareness, Grandfather Self. Topic at hand is the Nutrix. First, I want to bring on Grandfather Self so he can give the listeners a brief bio of his past, present, and future. Peace.
Greetings, everyone. I'm just glad to really have this opportunity to lay out a lot of information that's, should be common sense, but actually it was this lost knowledge. It's really called the Nutrix. Break it down for you, but before I break it down for you, I just want to give you a little history as far as when it comes to as far as my development and my process of how I acquired such information. A lot of times people indulge in themselves in history and try to really get caught up in words of other men, but I chose a particular route that really drove me to really obtain knowledge from experience. So I've been in the particular health industry for, I would say, 16 years, and started off with just basic anatomy and delved into kinesiology and physiology, and it brought me deep into these, the muscle fibers and neurons in the brain and body. And further on, I just kind of delved deeper and deeper into understanding the structure of the mind in relations to how it created balance within the body. So further, it brought me to an understanding of the atom, and the atom brought me to a particular understanding of the ion, and the ion brought me a particular understanding of hydrogen, and hydrogen brought me to a particular understanding of potential. And by that equation alone, that brought me to an understanding of today of what we call the pH balance. So the pH balance to me is a real foundation to the, the heights of consciousness, because the same measurements they use to measure your pH, which is logarithm, are the same measurements they use to measure your consciousness. So that in itself brought me to a point in my career which I am at this point, to bring to you a particular type of knowledge that's going to definitely give you a way to maneuver in a new paradigm and overstand the old paradigm.
Yeah, that's definitely some powerful information right there. I got a couple of questions I want to ask because I'm still myself gaining an understanding of the Nutrix, and I know to the people out there that's probably not aware, I just want to put some brief questions out there that could probably tune them in, because for the most part we all have the same common questions. So my first question to you is, explain how the Nutrix can be beneficial in our everyday agenda as far as success, just accomplishments, the things that for the most part people are into. How can the Nutrix improve, actually enlighten my soul?
All right. Enlighten your soul, I guess the first thing we want to know is what is soul, but I guess I can bridge that into the end. But the Nutrix, I guess we should try to understand or overstand the Nutrix in itself as far as the word. The word is a dense property, and we're really trying to talk or really trying to bring ourselves to enlightenment. So let's understand this dense property that we call the Nutrix, because it's actually a property that can enlighten you. So let's break it down. We got nu, we got tri, and then we have x. So we're going to start with nu. Nu first, is the third letter in the Greek alphabet of the Semitic origin, from the Hebrew word nun, which deals with flow. Nu actually reverts into flow, let flow, actually dealing with the waves of nun. So we have nu, say it's flow. And then we have tri, it's 3 intervals, which is the scale of life. It's the 3-point balance dealing with duality. That's the 3 dimensions. That's where you have the atom, and then you have the neutrons, and then you have the protons, or the 2 ions, the negative and positive that we call them today. So dealing with the X, So you have what I would call a flow of three-dimensional atoms. And that's pretty much dealing with the nutra. Nutra in itself, when you break down that word, together, the nu and the tri, you get she who gives sucks. That actually is a Proto-Indo-European word. Indo-European word means it's prehistoric. It means it's an ancient word. It's an ancient language. It's an ancient word, nutra. It comes from nu or snu. Snu means flow, let flow. Hence, to suckle, which comes from a Sanskrit word, snuti. So, when you're dealing with the flow, dealing with an equation that's continuous, as you give, you receive. And in this particular flow, the Nutrix, you actually have to give what is balanced. Now, what is balanced in this case is actually the pH balance. Now, the pH balance is actually what the nutrition is all about. So when you actually put nutra, with respect to balance in the atom, which is the ions, you actually get the nutra plus the ions. So balancing the ions, you have to have flow, the nutra flow. And the nutra flow is you balancing the ions. So therefore you have nutrition, nutra-ion, the nutrition. That's what Nutrix is all about. It really down to your nutrition, because Nutrix deals with the nutra plus the ion, the flow of your atoms. So when it boils down to it, proper nutrition, people talk about this word all the time. They say it all the time. They say proper pH balance, they say proper nutrition, but they don't actually have an understanding or an understanding of what the word in context actually means. And Nutrix is an ancient word. It's been around before English was even spoken. English, analyzing this particular language, developed the nutra and developed the concept of the ion. Really get deep, you're dealing with separation of atoms, which in theory they call atomism. But I don't want to go right there just yet, but really understanding is really just basically understanding how to balance your atoms. Balancing your atoms. But before I even go into that higher self, the lower self should really be understood, because that's your rooted aspect. That's something that no one really wants to forget or ignore or try to rise above without being rooted. Because it's one thing to act fruits and think about, well, I want to obtain fruits and do higher level things. But it's one thing to do it in a sense of mind where you don't really have a sense of what your roots are. So lower self is definitely needed to obtain higher self. The duality between lower and higher self is definitely key to balance. So I really want to get into, because I said atom, it really triggered a thought, because atom in Sanskrit means the breath. So the breath is the flow. So that's universal, higher and lower self. That's actually what pulls and brings that one point of friction between higher and lower self together is the breath. Is the atom. So I really want one to understand proper breathing is so key. Without having a consistent flow when it comes to the breath, the breath is really, really unachievable to have a complete thought. So I think it's very, very key to thinking, and thinking is what causes production. Or thinking is what produces your ion, should I say. So that's one thing I just want to go over real quick.
Okay. Definitely. That's definitely a good answer. I mean, the answer was, like, real long, but check this one out. I got another question as far as the ions.